You are with me, Shane, case study tutor at StudySima, and in this video tutorial, I will be focusing on the November 2017 operational case study exam in terms of the expectation of the examiner from an OCS exam and also the preparation for the OCS exam in terms of a study plan for a student. So let's start with the operational case study exam, OCS. This is the first integrated case study exam a student takes in the SEMA curriculum. So it becomes important that you understand the exam requirement, the nature of the exam, and the expectation of the examiner. So let's start with the OTQ exams. How different is the OCS, the case study exam, when compared with the OTQ exam? Well, in the OTQ exam, the objective was to test your knowledge of a particular subject matter. But in the case study exam, the objective is to test whether you can apply that knowledge to a particular business context. And as far as the November 2017 exam is concerned, we are looking at a company called Struans of Newland. So how is this different? Well, when the OTQ exams examined your knowledge, the focus was on identifying whether you could perform a particular calculation, whether you could identify a particular advantage of a particular model, and it was more or less an examination of whether you can produce your knowledge to a question that is raised. In the operational case study exam, you are set a realistic business environment, and what is required is to apply the knowledge in the particular business context. Say for example, the marketing mix. The marketing mix of Struans of Newland, and say for example the costing system of Struans of Newland, and for Struans of Newland what would be the appropriate costing system for overhead absorption. So you need to understand that this is not an exam where you will be reproducing all what you have learned in E1, P1 and F1, but you will be relating it to the question raised in the context of the information given to you in terms of the company. So speaking more of the exam structure, it is a 3-hour PC based exam, and unlike in the OTQ exams, you will be actually required to present your answers by typing, and it also means that you will have to practice typing answers for the operational case study exam. And the exam will comprise of 4 or 5 main questions, and each question will have sub requirements or sub tasks. And as far as the pass mark is concerned, you will be required to obtain 80 marks out of a scaled score of 150. And also, unlike the OTQ exam, the case study exam examines different competencies that the SEMA has developed as a framework for the management accountants. The competency examines or includes 4 different skills: people skills, business skills, technical skills, and leadership skills. The operational case study exam is mainly concerned with your skills in terms of technical aspects, business aspects, and people aspects. So in addition to the 80 marks, you will also be required to obtain what we call a moderate pass for these 3 skills. Well, you can learn more about these 3 skills and how it is actually tested in the exam by referring to the materials SEMA has published. But the simple understanding that you need to take is that these 3 skills would be examined across all the questions that are set in the exam paper. So the simple hack to getting these skills covered in terms of the pass mark is to make sure that you answer all the questions in the exam paper, and that of course requires effective time management. So that is a brief introduction to what the operational case study exam is about. And of course, SEMA has made available a lot of resources for students who are taking the exam the very first time, and these are available at SEMA Connect. So I would actually advise you to access SEMA Connect and just go through these materials that SEMA has made available for the students. So moving on from the OCS exam, let's look at what the preparation for the OCS exam should include. Well, you know that it's the operational case study exam, meaning it is the exam where the knowledge of E1, P1 and F1 is tested in the context of a particular business. So you are required to have the broad forward knowledge from E1, P1 and F1. So you start with making sure that you have the knowledge required to apply to the business context. So just go through your E1, P1 notes, just recap the key points, and just remember one thing: the OCS exam, unlike the OTQ exam, does not test your ability to perform lengthy calculations, say for example calculating the variances, but it is more interested in looking at whether you can interpret or explain the numbers. Say for example whether you can identify the reasons why the material usage for struans is adverse. So unlike in the OTQ exams, you will be given the operating statement with favorable and adverse variances, and you will be required to explain the reasons to the management for the variances. So in your preparation in terms of E1, P1 and F1 revision, focus on the explanation of various theories, models, concepts and accounting techniques, including the advantages of these models, techniques, and how suitable these models are to struans of Newland, and also look at the limitations of these models, and that actually reflects that you have a good understanding of these topics beyond just the textbooks. And also just try to relate that to struans of Newland and see how much they become relevant for struans. And you should also remember that if you are a student who has got exemptions for any of these subjects and here to do the case study exam, it is important that you go through the syllabus for the subject for which you have got the exemption, and that you are thorough with the topics that were covered in that particular subject. So first thing about the study plan is the brought forward knowledge. And with the brought forward knowledge, we are looking at what we call the pre-scene information. Well, this is the fictitious company information that has been given to you in advance. So operational case study exam is set based on a fictitious company, and as for the November 2017 exam, the company is Struans of Newland. And to assess your ability to thrive in the work environment and to assess your ability to apply this knowledge you have got from the operational level subjects, you have been designated the role of the finance officer of Struans of Newland. And as the finance officer, you will be assisting your immediate superior and also higher level staff in terms of information and in terms of support that a finance officer would render. And I should make specific note of this: although you are designated as the finance officer, you could be required to assist with any particular task that would cover any topic that you have covered or studied in the 3 subjects at the operational level. And let's look at the pre-scene. We know that it's Struans of Newland, an ice cream manufacturer, a premium ice cream manufacturer in the country of Newland. So, how do we go about the preparation with the pre-scene? Well, the pre-scene analysis must be carried out first. The pre-scene must be analyzed in the context of E1, P1, F1, and you should be able to spot the key information, and you should be able to identify the key issues that surface in the pre-scene information. So, say for example, key information. We know that we have three main customers: the supermarkets and the food servicing companies and small grocers. And the key issue here is that the supermarkets are coming up with their own brands, and some supermarkets are coming up with premium brands. And to add to that, we know that we suffer from low margins when it comes to the supermarkets due to the bargaining power. So question may be set as to how we could improve this situation. What would be the new avenues that we could look to distribute our products? And it could be possible that you might be looking at an alliance with one of these supermarkets. It could also be possible that you are looking at an acquisition of a supermarket chain. So based on the pre-scene information, you get a scene setting for the exam, where the exam questions could be developments from the pre-scene information that you have got. And I should make special mention of one fact, that is, do not confine your preparation for the issues that surface in the pre-scene alone. Well, you might look at the main issues in the pre-scene, but in the unseen, in the exam, any issue can become a key issue, because you are presented with unseen information, and that gives the examiner the opportunity to test issues which are beyond the pre-scene. So do not confine your preparation for the issues raised in the pre-scene, but be prepared to tackle any issue that could test your E1, P1 and F1 skills. So moving on about the pre-scene, it is also important that you strategically analyze the pre-scene using the models you have learned in the operational level. You need to perform a SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis will highlight the possible opportunities, and in the exam it may be that one of these opportunities become real, that you are actually trying to make the most out of it. And it may be that you have a weakness. Say for example, we have little marketing efforts. So in the exam it might be possible that the examiner wants you to explain how we could improve the marketing efforts in terms of the customer base we have. So it's important that you analyze the information in the context of models such as SWOT, Mendelov matrix, 4Ps of marketing, the value chain analysis, and this will actually provide you a better understanding of the current situation of the company. And also industry analysis. We know that this company is operating in the ice cream manufacturing industry, and we are producing ice cream for families. It's not for single consumption, but we are looking at the bulk sector, where we manufacture ice creams from 500 milliliter tubs onwards to 2 liter ice cream tubs. So looking at real world companies which are in this industry, which are into premium ice cream manufacturing, as in Struans, would help you to get an understanding as to what strategies in terms of, say, marketing would work for a company. However, please remember, this is not an examination of your industry knowledge or your company knowledge, but it's all about whether you can apply the knowledge that you have already gathered at the operational level to the business context. So Yes, industry analysis does come in handy. It helps you to understand the company better, but do not spend too much time, looking at the real world companies, studying their operations or memorizing the strategies or techniques and so on, because the operational case study exam is not about a particular industry. And from the pre-scene analysis, we move on actually to the question practice. Now, when it comes to question practice, it becomes important that you practice questions in the form of mock exams, because unlike in the OTQ exams, the operational case study exam is very time pressurized exam. You will be getting 5 main questions. These questions are referred to as sections in the exam, and there will be a particular time allocated for each section. And within that particular time, you can only answer that particular section. You can't carry forward any time you have saved, and you can't take time for one section from another section. So say for example section 1 you get 45 minutes, and that's all the time you get for 45 minutes. You finish early, you will not be able to take the 5 or 10 minutes you save from the first section to the second section. So as such, it becomes important that you develop the skill of writing answers, and also writing answers within exam conditions. So mock exams, which actually give you the same platform as the exam, where you get an online platform to do the exam with strict time limits, where the screen moves once a section ends, will give you the real practice that you need to attempt the exam. And mock exams, the more you do, the better preparation you will have as far as the exam is concerned. And it also becomes important that you receive feedback on your mock exam from an expert, because it will only be possible that you understand how many marks you score across different skills, and what improvements that you should be making, only with an expert tutor feedback who has experience in the subject matter. And always remember, the prevention costs in this instance become very important, because the external failure cost of the exam is obviously high, as you would know. So take good mock exams, take tutor feedback, and based on the feedback, try to rewrite the answers and try to improve the performance of your mock exam in terms of the preparation. And with that, also visit the resources the examiner has made available at CIMA Connect, where you can look at past exam and suggested answers. This will provide you a good understanding as to what the examiner expects. And these answers also include the marking criteria, where the examiner specifically provides insight into how many marks are allocated for a particular point, and also the examiner's comments for a particular case study exam. So these comments highlight valuable points that you should be taking care of when attempting the exam. So take mock exams, rewrite the mock exams, study the points in the mock exams, because those could actually uh, be the same scenarios or the same questions that you might get in the exam. And also remember, the operational case study exam, being the first integrated case study exam, might be a little uncomfortable for the first timers, because you will find a little difficult to get a good grip of it. But it is actually normal that every student initially has this difficulty, and as you progress with mock exams and then feedback and also the examiner's comments, you will gradually start to develop the confidence and the skill that you need to do this exam. Because remember, this is nothing new that you are going to be facing. it's the operational case study, and it's about the operational level knowledge being applied to a particular business context. So having passed the operational case study exams, you are well in a position to tackle the OCS exam and get it cleared. So be confident and give the maximum preparation for the exam. And moving on, you have a little less than a month for the exam. So plan out your days, plan the weeks, and plan the days and plan the hours. You need to be covering all these points in terms of your study plan, and also be confident as the exam nears and give your best in the exam, and I'm pretty sure you will succeed. And also keep following Studysima. We will be sharing more valuable insights and resources for the exams. You know that we have already made available the pre-scene analysis, and we have also made available the mock exams with tutor feedback. So visit our site and see for the resources that could be of help for you. So as for the exams, all the best from all of us at Studysima, and stay tuned with us for more resources. Thank you.